Hey, this is sort of funny. Joe Biden is hilariously claiming to be the most progressive candidate running in the 2020 Democratic primary, which is obviously not true. Now, Biden actually said this a couple of weeks ago before he even announced he was running. And in the clip I'm going to play for you, you'll notice that Biden sort of slips and says he's the most progressive candidate running, even though at the time he wasn't running. And it was sort of a signal that pretty clearly he's going to be. But the point of all this is Joe Biden claiming to be the most progressive candidate. Take a look at this.
I know I get criticized. I'm told I get criticized by the new left. I have the most progressive record of anybody running for the United, if anybody who would run.
So this is simply not true. There are many things that we can say about Biden that are true. And I told you some of them, and they're not all things I'm thrilled with, and they're not all things our audience is thrilled with. So Joe Biden's polling really well, okay? There are a number of new polls that came out over the weekend. One from Harvard Harris has Biden polling at 44%, okay? Even if off by several points, that's huge. The latest CNN poll has Biden polling 39%. The latest Quinnipiac poll has Biden polling 38%. I know that there are people who will take issue with individual polls, but these are good numbers, and you can take issue with liking Biden. You can say Biden is not a progressive, which I say, but it's a true statement that Biden is polling really well. You can accurately say Biden's raising a ton of money. Okay, he set a record for the first 24 hours among other 2020 candidates. Did Joe Biden's money come from larger donations from a smaller pool of donors? Absolutely, as I told you about last week. But it's true that Joe Biden raised more money in his first day than any other of the 2020 Democratic candidates. But there's no factual case to be made that Joe Biden's the most progressive candidate. Here is Bernie Sanders, when asked about this over the weekend, saying, yeah, that's not the case.
I'm sure you saw Joe Biden say that he is the most progressive candidate in this race.
Well, look, Joe is a good friend of mine, and I'm not here to attack Joe. Joe voted for the war in Iraq. I led the effort against it. Joe voted for NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations, trade agreements with China. I led the effort against that. Joe voted for the deregulation of Wall Street. I voted against that. I think if you look at Joe's record and you look at my record, I don't think there's much question about who's more progressive.
Joe Biden is not the most progressive candidate, obviously, and that should be made crystal clear. What's problematic is that there are some on the left saying Biden is just like Trump, and you've got to just stop being stupid, okay? That's exactly the type of attack that hurts us in the general election. Biden's not Trump, okay? Biden's basically Hillary, and as we know right now, Hillary was not Trump. The Supreme Court would look very different if Hillary Clinton was president. Our relationships with many of our historical allies would look very different if Hillary Clinton was president. So there are memes floating around. There's one that has, 20 different parameters. And the case it makes is that on like all but one of them, Trump and Biden are the same. The difference between them being Biden's polite, whereas Donald Trump is crass. That's destructive as much as it is silly and stupid, okay? There's one positive thing here I do want to point out. In a way, sort of good that Joe Biden feels the need to lie about being the most progressive. What I mean in sort of other words is Biden is claiming to be most progressive because he must believe that it's good for him for people to see him as more progressive than he actually is. He has assessed that saying, I'm a sensible center-left Democrat, that doesn't seem as appealing in his mind to the electorate as claiming to be the most progressive candidate. So in a sense, that maybe is an indicator that things are continuing to move to the left in terms of the candidates on the Democratic side. It's simply not true that Biden is the most progressive. Biden's a centrist. He is, I think, what I would call a sort of status quo Democrat. It's not just about where exactly on the political spectrum is Biden. He's center left. He's basically Hillary. It's that he is not a progressive candidate. But if he's the nominee, I'm going to vote for him over Trump. I mean, this is where I don't want to see the left evolve into this Biden is just like Trump stuff, because it's ridiculous. And there are low information voters who will fall for it. Biden is endlessly better than Trump. but he's not what I would describe as a progressive Democrat. And I don't think there's any factual case you can make to support that claim. My hope is if Biden ends up being the nominee and Biden ends up becoming president of the United States, if Democrats are able to maintain control of the House in 2020 and 2022, and then are able to take control of the Senate in 2022, very unlikely that Democrats would take control in 2020 of the Senate, no matter what happens in the White House. If in 2022, Biden gets the House and the Senate, I hope that we will have a progressive enough House and Senate that they will do really progressive things and Biden will not get in the way of those things. It's sort of setting the bar relatively low, but I think practically speaking, that's kind of the best case scenario if Joe Biden ends up being president. Today's program is sponsored in part by our friends over at LochNessCrypto.com. The team is based in Boise, Idaho, and they've made it their mission to help just everyday people navigate the world of cryptocurrency, and they've been doing it since 2012. They've actually been teaching a course about cryptocurrency at the Boise State Computer Science Department for years, and they've taken that curriculum and sort of packed it into an easy to digest course that's now available to anybody who wants it, called the Cryptocurrency Starter Kit. And this is the type of thing that crypto has really been lacking. And it's one of the reasons we maybe haven't seen adoption of currencies like Bitcoin and others on a larger scale. Normal people who are not tech experts need a step-by-step guide that's easy to understand about how they can get involved with cryptocurrency in a way that is sort of safe and manageable. And that's what the Cryptocurrency Starter Kit provides. It's a 5-part video series, which includes how to safely obtain cryptos, where to set up your accounts, how to protect those accounts from hackers, importantly, how to move crypto into physical hardware wallets, and also how to just prepare for the future of the space. You also get a free physical hardware wallet. It's sort of like a flash drive where you can safely store your Bitcoin or other cryptos offline. And you also get 1 hour of one-on-one phone or Skype mentoring with one of Loch Ness Crypto's experts. They're the only company in the crypto space that offers a service like this. And it all comes with the Cryptocurrency Starter Kit. They have a special offer specifically for the David Pakman Show audience. If you click the link under this video, you'll get $200 off the Cryptocurrency Starter Kit. Check it out using the link down below.